Hello everyone, I'd like to reconvene this meeting at 4:36 and that'll bring us to our action items for this evening. The first one, appointment of external auditor, CAO Howarth.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. So this item is before council to comply with section 2801 of the Municipal Government Act that states that each council must appoint one or more auditors to the municipality. This evening, administration is seeking support from council to appoint JDP Wasserman and Associates as the designated auditor for the town of Hinton for the fiscal years 2021, 2022, and 2023. And Ms. Fox is here, the co-author of the report, to answer any questions you might have. Thanks.
Thank you, administration. Councillor Taylor.
I move that council appoint JDP Wasserman and Associates as a designated auditor for the town of Hinton for the fiscal years of 2021, 2022, and 2023. Information provided says it all to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any debate or question? Seeing none, I'll call to question that council appoint JDP Wasserman and Associates as the designated auditor for the town of Hinton for the fiscal years 2021, 22, and 23. Council, all those in favor? That's passed unanimously. Council, anything further for this item this evening? Seeing none, we will move along to the second one, council appointments to the Hinton Municipal Library Board Member Reduction Report. CO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. So this item is before council to either reduce the appointments that were made during the organizational meeting of council members to the Municipal Library Board, or to direct administration to amend the bylaw that establishes the number of members that are on that board. The recommendation tonight, I believe, and Mayor Michaels provided some direction on his appointments to this to the library board, is that first of all, we rescind the appointment of the two councillors, as well as Councillor Taylor as the alternate, and that council appoint Councillor Hawes to the board, library board, and that's Councillor Magoon be the alternate. And Ms. Way is here to support any questions you might have.
CO Howard. Council, Councillor Magoon.
I'd like to make the motion that council rescind the appointment of Councillor Hawes, Councillor Magoon, and Councillor Taylor as the alternate for the Hinton Municipal Library Board.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. Council, we have a direction on the floor. Any debate, questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll call to question. All those in favor? That's passed unanimously. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to move that council appoint Councillor Hawes as the Municipal Library Board to the Municipal Library Board as member, and that Councillor Magoon be appointed as alternate as per Mayor Michael's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Council, we have a direction on the floor. Any debate or questions? Seeing none, again, I'll call to question. All those in favor? That's passed unanimously. Council, anything further for our second item for the evening? Seeing no one, that'll bring us to our third action item, a council action pending list revisions. CO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. This report is a summary of the work that council had done during their committee of the whole meeting back on November 30th. It reflects the directions that were made at that time. There's the one exception that explains, again, not to rescind the full motion, but just to mark it complete. And that's the item, MD. Sorry, I think it's 1868. It's lots of numbers here. Yes, 2293 maybe? No, that's it, 1830. Thanks, sorry, my apologies for that trip up. So you can, there are several recommendations in front of you. You can, my recommendation is separately, and if you have any questions, I can take them now.
Thank you, CO Howard. Council, we discussed this on the 30th. Any further questions or directions? Council? Councillor Hawes.
We'll start with the first one. The council rescind MD 2299, MD 2247, MD 2248, MD 2331, MD 1643, MD 1702, and MD 1868, MD 2032, MD 2383 as listed on the council action pending list. Can I speak to it? We had, I believe, a really good exercise on the 30th during our special meeting, moving through our action pending list and identifying some of the, prioritizing some of them, trying to whittle down a little bit so we can get some work done. And these, I believe, they're not that they go away. They're still there. If when the time comes, then we can reprioritize them. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hawes. Council, we have a direction on the floor, which is the first recommended action by administration. Any questions, debate? Councilor LeBerge.
I do have a question. So on 1868, in the supplied information, it said that an expression of interest was necessary to qualify for grant funding. So if this is done away with, does that impact our ability to go and to do that?
Administration?
Thank you. That particular grant required an expression of interest to be submitted in order to sort of pre-qualify for applying for that grant. That grant we've received information that's been oversubscribed and that's not available at this time. So any future granting opportunities that are made available, and if a EOI, for example, is required, then we will come back to council or submit that from administration, knowing that council would like to receive some grant funding for that project.
Councilor LeBerge?
Thank you. I'll support the motion.
Thank you, Councilor LeBerge. I'll share my thoughts. I think I support this. I would be in favor potentially to remove MD 1868, although there is an alternative way to do so in the future in order to get this back on the action pending list. So it's not a hill that I'll particularly jump on, but I have no problem keeping it there. So if there's any appetite of council to exclude them, and you would have my support, but otherwise overall, I'm okay taking an alternative approach. Council, any further debate or questions? Seeing none, I won't repeat. So if you can have a look at the screen, it's the recommended action, and I'll call to question all those in favor. That's passed unanimously. Councilor Magoon.
I'd like to make the motion that council mark MD 2410 and MD 2293 is listed on the council action pending list as complete.
Thank you, Councilor Magoon. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any debate or questions? Again, seeing none, I'll call to question all those in favor. That's passed unanimously. Councilor Stashik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that council move the revised due date for MD 2234 to March 31st, 22, MD 2378 to February 22nd, 22, MD 2380 to February 22nd, 22, MD 2411 to December 7th, 21, MD 2310 to March 22nd, 21, MD 2318 to March 22nd, 21, and MD 2031 to May 2022 as listed on the council action pending list.
Thank you, Councilor Stashik. Council, again, we have a motion on the floor. CAO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. Recognizing and Ms. Brendel has just corrected that the two dates for March 22nd, 22. So that was for MD 2310 and MD 2318. My error, I had the date for March 22nd, 2021. 22, so let's amend that. My apologies.
Councilor Stashik, you're okay with that change?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, administration, for changing that. Council, we have a motion on the floor where the date was corrected by administration. Any questions or debate? Seeing none, again, I'll call it to question. All those in favor? Passed unanimously. Councilor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that council rescind MD 1759 as listed on the council action pending list.
Thank you, Councilor Race. Council, again, we have a motion on the floor. Any debate or questions? Councilor LeBerge.
I do have a question because this seems to, now that I've read the report, it's impacted residential as opposed to commercial billing on apartment buildings. Is that something that's been addressed at all?
Administration?
Thank you, Mayor Michaels, through to Councilor Laberge. I would call upon Ms. Fox. I'll start with you on that question, and maybe, so I'm not sure who would combine, have a, yeah. Thank you, Ms. Fox. And just because I know our feed and our our volume, our sound is a little bit off, did you hear Mr. LaBerge, Councilor LaBerge's question?
No, if you could repeat it, please, that would be helpful.
Okay, well, when I had a look at the original report given on this item, it was the allocation of the water cost to an apartment building as residential as opposed to commercial, and there was a significant difference in the cost as charged, and I think that's where this motion had come from. And I'm just wondering if any work at all has been done on this.
Administration?
Sorry, I believe I'm going to have to defer this question.
Sorry, so then I'm assuming Mr. Rousseau won't know the answer to that either with that. I think most of our staff were here then. Mr. Rousseau, if you have an answer to that, great. If not, we can, I might have to get back to you, Council, on that. Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Howard, CEO Howard through the council. Nothing further has been done to it. I know that's been a pilot project that was undertaken to assess, I think there were 2 or 3 condo owners that allowed us to put meters and to evaluate that, but no further work has been done on it from what I understand. So hence it's being in abeyance as of a couple of months ago.
Councilor LaBerge?
Thank you.
Thank you, administration and Councilor LaBerge. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any further questions? Seeing none. Call the question that council rescind MD 1759 is listed on the council action pending list. Council, all those in favor? It's passed unanimously. And council, one more if there's any interest. Councilor Stashik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the council rescind MD 2086 as listed on the council action pending list.
Thank you, Councilor Stashik. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any debate or questions? And seeing that this is potentially our last one, I do want to echo Councilor Hawes's original comments to the public. For those who are watching, this is an exercise that I believe council now will be undertaking more frequently in order to clean up and prioritize what we want to work on, and then it'll really give us an opportunity to bring things forward and know where that list is, and then place it accordingly. And municipalities go through changes all the time, so this really is I believe an exercise that will benefit us quite positively in the next 4 years. So just a little context for anyone watching. Council, any further debate? Seeing none, call the question that council rescind MD 2086 is listed on the council action pending list. Council, all those in favor? That's passed unanimously. Council, anything further for this item this evening? Councilor Stashik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a question for administration regarding MD 2191 and MD 2192. That has a revised due date of June 28th, 2022. I'm not sure that those remain as priority items for council anymore. I understand administration's already invested some time and effort into bringing those back to council. So with that being done, I don't really want to throw it by the wayside, but I'm also not hung up on having it come back by the revised date of, it's June 28th, 2022. So I'd just like to ask administration if it helps move other priority item things forward, if administration, if a further delay in the due date, if that would be helpful.
Before I go to administration, Councilor Stashik, could I ask you to just repeat the two?
Sorry, it's MD 2191
Thank
and
you.
MD 2192, which are in reference to attachment link number 5. So that's the fiscal responsibility policy FN 1301.
Okay, thank you for that, Councilor Stashik. Administration?
Thank you, Mayor Michaels, through to Councilor Ostashik. So Ms. Fox, if I can just get you to jump on the screen here. So yes, for those of you, that's in your link that was attached to this report, and it's on page 7, bottom of page 7 and top of page 8 of the council pending list. So Ms. Fox, this is, I know that this is quite a hefty document, and I know that it connects to many other things that we're trying to move in a more clear and positive direction. So the question from council this evening is, would it be helpful to have those revised dates pushed out further than June 28th? And if so, what would that date be? And if not, you could just speak to the importance of bringing it by that date. Thank you. Sorry, you're muted. There we go. That's all right. Good.
Thank you, Ms. Howard, through to council. Sorry, there's a lot of lag here tonight, so I'm doing my best just to follow with what's going on. One was in regards to the fiscal responsibility policy, and the other one was, can you clarify which other one that was?
Ms. Fox, so both of them are, it's MD 2191 and MD 2192. Both of them were related to the fiscal responsibility policy. It's on the bottom of page 7 and the top of page 8 of the link of the first attachment of this report. Sorry, that's a lot, but I'll just let you find that first.
I think the complexity with these, we really threw out the date of June because we didn't know exactly what our resources were going to be to target this. This really ties into the reserve policy as well as, so fiscal responsibility, accounting policy, reserve policy, they all kind of are ones that need to be targeted. Because those are ones that had come up first and were brought forward early, I think in the spring to council, that's why they're coming up first. So my long answer is June may not be doable, but I don't actually have a better guess as to when we will be able to do this. We are working on a corporate services business plan right now, looking at all of those items coming forward. And I think I would be able to suggest a different date once I'm able to meet with my team and decide what resources we have to address some of these items.
CO Howard?
Thank you, Ms. Fox. So at this point, I think we're inviting council to just leave it for the end of June 2022. Again, you do see this list, the second committee meeting of every month. So you'll see it in December. You'll actually see it on the 21st of December because the 28th meeting is canceled. So you'll see it at the end of each month. And if we get to where there's other priorities determined between each of those monthly reporting, we can modify this date and request an extension or a revised date from council at that time.
Thank you, administration. Councilor Stashik?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure administration wasn't investing in resources in something that wasn't a council priority, considering all the priorities that we have. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Stashik. Council, anything further for our third action item for this evening? And seeing none, thank you, Council administration. That'll bring us to our fourth item, the 2022 interim operating budget. CAO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. So this is an item that was identified in your budget process, the timeline that was approved both by your outgoing council and the incoming council. So we've anticipated at the beginning of the process that we would not have an operating budget approved by the end of this year. So the requirement is that you approve an interim operating budget, and the past practice has been that interim budget is based on the operating expenditures from the previous budget year, which in this case would be 2021. So the recommendation before you is to approve the 2022 interim operating budget based on the approved operating expenditures from 2021. And the second piece of that we just wanted to flag for council is that in the budget process last year, for 1 year, council has had suspended the hanging flower basket program with the intent of it remaining, and it was remained in the budget plan. And so we just wanted to bring that to council's attention because of the time of year. If we don't order those flowers in January, then, and you don't approve an operating budget until February or later, that decision will be made for you because we can't place the order. And again, a portion of that money is for the materials, but it's also for the equipment rental, but it's also for the staff member. So while the total amount isn't just for the hanging basket program, we did reduce one summer seasonal position. So we're just wanted to put that in front of you in case you wanted to bring that program back and that staffing level back. Then we would need a bit of a unique addition to your base budget approval for the interim. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO Howard. Councilor Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move that council approve the 2022 interim operating budget based on the approved operating expenditures from 2021 of $34,981,728,000, and that council approve the 2022 interim operating budget to include an additional $29,000 for the hanging flower basket program that was temporarily suspended for 1 year in 2021. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Rice. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any questions, debate? Councilor Magoon, I saw your hand up earlier.
No, I'm good, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Council? Seeing none, I'll call to question. All those in favor? That's passed unanimously. Council, anything further for our fourth item for this evening? Seeing no one, that'll bring us to our fifth and final action item, the 2022 capital budget and 2023-2026 capital plan approval. CEO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. Thank you. Mr. Osmond has joined us as well this evening. And so again, this is hopefully reflects all the work that council had done with administration back in November. We had a full day, a committee of the whole meeting where we went through the 2022 capital budget, as well as the 2023-2026 capital plan. So that has been brought together with attachments for you today. And I will maybe just turn it over to Mr. Osmond to speak to anything and address any questions council may have. And I also have the full senior leadership team available for any questions on specific projects. Thanks.
Thank you, administration. Council. Councilor Taylor.
Two things. Is the right terminology presented or amended? Because we made a change.
Administration.
If you had directed any change at your November meeting, we have incorporated that change. So whatever's presented is what you asked. So now you're approving what is presented, unless you want to amend it further, which you can totally do. Yeah.
I understand.
Okay.
Councilor Magoon.
I'd like to make the motion that council approve the 2022 capital budget as presented.
Thank you, Councilor Magoon. Councilor Taylor.
The only thing I didn't see in the project sheet, and I'm just want to make sure it's there, is we saw it originally, it had the water treatment plant in the first year of the capital plan. That's still in there, correct?
Administration.
Mr. Osmond.
Thank you very much for the question, Councillor Taylor, through the chair. The water treatment plant project is the second project listed in the 2022 capital budget.
Thank you, administration. Thank you, Councilor Taylor. Council, we have a direction on the floor. Any Councilor Hawes?
Yeah, I'm just going to speak in favor of this. And again, I just want to express the gratitude to administration for bringing this project, for this report forward. I enjoyed that day hearing from all departments, and then looking at the specific projects and the future projects that come. So I just want to thank administration for that and Mr. Osman. And again, I'll be in support of this right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, you have a direction on the floor. Any further debate? Seeing none, I'll call the question that council approve the 2022 capital budget as presented and that council approve the 2023 to 2020 administration.
Sorry, my apologies. I may just have both of those motions be made together. I did not think they were.
Well, it was
I
just-
think there was a
I
period.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to simplify things, I did only make the first
You
motion
did
in case there was a desire to split.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, administration. Council, I'll call to question that council approve the 2022 capital budget as presented. Council, all those in favor? Passed unanimously. Council? Any for Councillor Haas?
I'd like to move the council approve the 2023 to 2026 capital plan as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Haas. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any debate, questions? Seeing, CO Howard.
Mayor Michaels, I see that Mr. Osmond would just like to make a few comments at this point before you call this one.
Mr. Osmond?
Thank you very much. So I just wanted to make sure that there was absolute clarity about the capital plan 23 to 26. So the capital plan is based on the projects that we see at the time we create the plan. There will be an exercise as you go into the capital budget program for next year where all of the projects will be run through that evaluation matrix that we talked about again to see whether things have changed. So we may see projects, if there's major reconstruction or repair projects where at the time they were evaluated this year, their status and expected remaining life was longer. And when they're reviewed next year, that may change. So although we lay out the details of this plan and the projects based on when we anticipate being able to deal with them, the process of going through that re-ranking each year makes sure that the most important projects at that time of evaluation filter to the top. So that just clarity for council and for the public that this is the plan at this time, understanding that everything will be reevaluated next year and we may see significant changes. I did also want to mention that there were two projects that were moved following the deliberations on the capital budget, the SCBA and cylinders and the skateboard park life cycle replacement were both moved into the 2024 year of the capital plan. Those the comments I wanted to have before council proceeded this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Osmond. Council. CEO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. Just to add a little bit to that, and I know when we went through this with the exercise on the capital budget day, there are some items that were originally planned for 2022 that have been moved out past that. And so while the budget, 2022 budget that you just passed and the plan that is upcoming, one of the other things that is still a possibility is that there are sometimes throughout the year that we have to come back to council and say we need to purchase something in a capital asset that was not approved in the plan for in the budget for 2022 and may be in the year 2023 or out. That becomes more urgent situation in a different way than how it was ranked when we went and ranked all of the other projects. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that, plant that seed for that, and not that we expect there to be lots of those, but there is still that opportunity, and those would always come back to council in the budget year, and the source of funding would be identified at that time.
Thank you, CEO Howard. Council? Councilor Taylor.
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate, there's a first-class system for prioritizing the capital projects that I didn't see in 2013 to 17 that we used this year. And that's based on 5 or 6 or 7 criteria. And it's really, really first rate, and it's positive to see that. It's looking forward to that continuing well into the future.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor, and I think I see a lot of head nodding. Council has really, I think, been set up in a very favorable position when it comes to the capital project. So we appreciate the work that administration has brought forward to this. My only other comment, and this is for future ones that come forward, that any changes, and I think I understood Mr. Osmond's point loud and clear. There will be things that will be amended or changed, but that in the draft for next year's budget, that those are highlighted within what we receive. So we don't have to cross-reference and bring up the old one and say, oh, actually that one's omitted and it's not noted. That's the only recommendation. Perhaps that's a conversation for council to have with our CAO at a future date, but that would be my expectation, that any changes to this document that we see in 10 months from now would be noted. And then we can have that clear and I think transparent conversation with council. CAO Howard.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. We can make note of that right now. Certainly, Ms. Fox is making notes of all of these things and be leading the process for next year. So it's as simple as adding a column, when was it originally approved right now, and what are we proposing the new date to be. So yes, you can see that all at once and not have to cross-reference, and they go to historical documents. So we can note that down, and you can expect to see that next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much. That's something I've heard from many members of council. It makes it challenging. Budget process is already hard enough. Instead of cross-referencing multiple budget drafts, it makes it even more painful. So we appreciate that. Council, we currently still have a motion on the floor from Councillor Hawes. Any further debate or questions? Seeing none, I'll call to the question that council approve the 2023 to 2026 capital plan as presented. Council, all those in favor? That's passed unanimously. Council, anything further for our action items for this evening? Seeing none, that'll bring us to our discussion item, the mandatory face coverings bylaw 1163, section 8.1.2. CAO Howard.
Nothing on this matter, just an opportunity, commitment that we make to bring this bylaw for council's consideration at the first regular meeting of each month.
Thank you, CAO Howard. Council, any questions, comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept this for information. Councillor Hawes.
I'd like to move that we accept the mandatory face coverings bylaw 1163, section 8.1.2 for information, please.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, we have a motion on the floor. Any debate, questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? It's passed unanimously. That'll bring us to our reporting for this evening, and I will begin to my right with Councillor Taylor.
Oh, no, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Reyes.
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Reyes. Councillor LeBerge.
Well, a couple of meetings this last week. HRADC did get together for a quick meeting, and one of the things that we discussed was taking action on updating the strategic plan, as it relates to economic development. And then I had an interesting discussion on something that the Chamber's working on as part of their grant. One of the things that they're looking to do is put bike racks in the Green Square and the Valley Shopping Center, but with the addition of a charging station for e-bikes. So I know that that's something that we talked about at budget time, but it does sound like that's being worked on another front. And then on Friday, we had our board orientation and our community futures meeting.
It's wonderful music.
I don't know how to get my notifications not to come up. And yeah, that was a great, a long but a great day.
Thank you, Councillor Berge, and I concur with Councillor Taylor. Lovely music. Councillor Ostashik.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The only thing that I've got since the last council meeting is I also attended on Friday the Board of Directors meeting for Community Futures West Yellowhead. Day-long meeting, as Councillor LaBerge indicated, including orientation. So lots of interesting learning about what Community Futures does and how they do it. So other than that, I have nothing else to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stashik. Councillor Magoon.
Nothing to report, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor Magoon. Councillor Haas.
Just a couple of things. So I was able to attend the Waste Management Board orientation / agenda meeting. Looked at the business of waste in our area and talked more about the moving forward towards the commission. So it was well attended, good information, and a few decisions made on the future of the waste as well. We so since I believe I did mention we had the Youth Council Committee, we have another Youth Council Committee meeting coming up this Thursday, and it's just for the senior members, just to discuss the future and iron out a few details before our next meeting the following week with the youth. No library board meeting this month due to December, but I did want to note that to the public that the library hours are going to be reduced around the Christmas or the holiday season. So just to check out the website or give the library a call. And I just wanted to, again, extend a thank you to the group over at the infrastructure building. I was able to attend a tour of that facility. Mr. Rousseau and his team showed us around. A great facility. Got to say, really clean for a shop. I was very impressed by that and the organization of it as well, and the amount of, the equipment we have there. So I just want to thank the staff for that tour. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes, and for myself, I'll echo Councillor Hawes' point. It was a great tour, and I hope this council, we can do this at least yearly, if not every 6 months. We, book something with our CAO to go visit our buildings, talk to the staff. It's a great way to interact, to find out what new things they're working on, things of that nature. So always great when we get to see the operations of our municipality. So thank you for those who put that together. I had our Evergreens board meeting. We have 4 new members out of a 6-member group, so it was nice to get acclimated there. We have major projects on the way with the Victor Lake project in Grand Cache and the Wildwood project in the coming years. So a lot of investment there in seeing with our Pine Valley looking to be completely open in the coming months. So that was good. I had the privilege to attend the Beer and Blue Jeans with many of my fellow councillors here. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. Always a great event with COVID. It's something that's kind of, had a mini hiatus, but it's a great way to really connect with the business community. So I look forward to that coming into effect often. I also joined our fellow councillors with the Community Futures Christmas party, which is always great. And that is all for me. Councillor Race.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have something to speak to, if I may. So on Sunday, I did attend a ASH meeting. Good news, Hinton Movies will be starting back up at the end of December. Also, ASH is working hard getting their appropriation or the presentation to council ready for December. I too was part of the tour of infrastructure, and it was a great tour. Good to meet all the people. And that's it, sir.
Thank you, Councillor Race, for mentioning that, and that made me think tomorrow we meet with the county. So I know most councillors will be able to go there. This is obviously one of our most important relationships with the county. We have many agreements in place, so I'm looking forward to having that conversation. Councillor Stashik, LaBerge, and myself had the privilege of meeting Mayor Wade Williams at the Community Futures event. So I'm looking forward to good conversations, and it seems like they have a great council. So tomorrow at 11:30, that'll be great. Councillor Taylor?
Is there an agenda for that, or is it just informal?
Just informal roundtable at the moment. I think our preliminary conversation with our partners is because they have almost half of their council is new, so it's an opportunity to talk on any issue. Obviously, I would suggest that we keep it high level and then create an agenda with specifics on being prepared of, okay, what agreements do we want to look at? So tomorrow is really building that relationship because we have to have many of these meetings in the next 4 years. Okay, Perfect. Thank you, Counselor Taylor. That'll bring us to urgent matters. Council, are there any urgent matters this evening? Seeing none, I will hand it off to our CAO.
Thank you, Mayor Michaels. I just have one item. I just wanted to, first of all, thank the Chamber for coordinating the parade. It was well attended, and thanks to all the businesses and the departments of the town that put floats in. Lots of great effort. There was a good turnout. It was, it's, I think, a very fun and celebratory event for the community, which is always needed in these last couple of years. So just wanted to shout out appreciation for that. And that's it, unless council has any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, administration. That'll bring us to our administrative inquiries. Administration, are there any? None. Council, any notices of motion? None, and if not, I will entertain a motion to go to closed session with a 7-minute break. Councillor Hawes.
I'd like to make the motion to go in closed session for the 7-minute break.
Thank you, Councillor Hawes. Council, all those in favor? Pass unanimously. Thank you, everyone.